A good morning and a superb Wednesday to each and every single one of you. Apologies for this olive branch that I've got sticking halfway into the frame. That's because if I turn the camera this way, you'll see I've got the camera sticking halfway into an olive tree just so that I can find somewhere that does not have too much wind noise, because the olive tree is just blocking the wind ever so slightly, so you'll be able to hear me ever so slightly better. Apologies for the sun being so high in the sky. I was working on pushing content through to about 3 o'clock in the morning, so I'm afraid I overslept all the way through to 9:30 this morning. But be that as it may, I got a reasonable amount of sleep. Anyway, today, pumping content, number one. Publishing some posts, number two. I've got Nathan with a mastermind about um, pillar content, using pillar content to increase topical authority as far as improving blog traffic is concerned. I've got that at 4:30 this afternoon. 6 o'clock, I've got a mastermind or Zoom session with Ezoic talking about doing site audits and how to conduct your own site audits. I've got that coming up. And then at 7:30 this evening, I've got Anna of Project 24 for a content work hour, which I'm sure I'm going to be pumping out a whole lot more content during that content hour. And then before all of that happens, I also need to send a message off to Jan in the Czech Republic about the content that I'm producing for his blog. I think it's a hit list of 3 posts, so I need to message him about that, and that will bring a conclusion to all of the freelance work that I've got on my plate at the moment. So I'll be able to start looking for some more freelance work, as well as continue pumping out the content on my own blogs. Anyway, that's what I've got set up as far as this Wednesday is concerned, and I sincerely hope that you come along for the ride and pump out a massive amount of content on your blogs as well. Let me know in the comments down below how well sticking the phone halfway into an olive tree worked as far as dissipating the wind noise is concerned. But I'll speak to you later once I'm back in office. Let's get cracking and smash out the content today and make it a win all round. We're on the 20th of September, so basically 11 days of content production to go, and then we're at the end of the month. That's including today. Oh, and a super good evening to you. I am feeling fairly wiped out at the moment. Anyway, word count update. Let's just get that part out of the way first. 2,151 words for the day. So I've eked back up over my 2,000 words a day number, even though with me exceeding word counts for a good number of days. My target word count that was 2,000 a day has now, on the Wednesday the 20th of September, is now down to 1,500 words a day that I have to hit every day from now through until the end of the month. So the rate things are going, I'll hit my 60,000 word count target on or round about the 27th of September. So I'm at least happy as far as all of that's concerned. What else can I tell you? Oh yes, the various Project 24 masterminds. The second Project 24 mastermind, that was a content work hour. I managed to get the video that you probably saw in the early hours of this morning. I managed to get that edited and put together, as well as around about I think it was 800 words of my 2,100 words for the day. So that was a reasonably good content work hour. What else can I tell you? Oh yes, the other 2 Zoom calls that I was on. The first Zoom call was a Project 24 mastermind with Nathan, talking about pillar content and the importance that is as far as expertise, or the EEAT, which is what? Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, which is one of the basic premises of what makes a good website and what makes a trustworthy website. And then basically, literally, a couple of seconds later, after I got my timing out of it, but straight from that, I went into the Ezoic um, webinar, which is all about search engine optimization and doing a search engine optimization audit on your website. And the only thing that I can say from that point of view is Ezoic seems way behind the ball. I mean, the Ezoic's um, webinar about search engine optimization, as far as your blog posts are concerned, was ensuring that you have enough subheadings breaking up your content to be able to ensure that the search engines crawling your website will be more easily able to see what each block of content is covering, bearing in mind that search engines like Google, for instance, they all are operating on semantic search at the moment, which means they scan each and every single word of your blog post these days and not just the subheadings. So in that sense, the Zoic webinar was a bit behind the times. They're talking about making sure that you got the keyword in your title of your blog post. They're talking about uh, ensuring that you've got the keyword repeated enough times. They were talking about uh, backlinking strategies and things like that. Um, all things that the income school crowd did have and have moved on from. The uh, the Ezoic webinar didn't cover anything about topical authority. They didn't cover anything about content clustering, in other words, to be able to build up topical authority on your blog post because you've got enough content about a specific topic in your niche. They covered none of that whatsoever. What's the other thing that they didn't cover? Also relating to, because that's one of the things that I just previously with Nathan been discussing as far as the pillar content is concerned, because there are certain posts in the niche that you're in. There'll be certain posts that will be highly competitive and you might not want to write them because they're highly competitive, which is what the Ezoic webinar was aiming at, is writing the content that you can rank number one for. But at the same time, for topical authority, um, you need certain pillars of content on your website. Say, for instance, um, if I've got a website that's about cooking, then surely I would need to have a blog post about imperial versus metric cooking measurements. I would need to have a, um, a blog post covering the optimal way to chop an onion, for instance. I'm just pulling things out of my head. And these are topics there'll be tons of content already out there on the web. So which means that if you're following the Exoic method of always aiming to be only writing the articles that you can rank number one for, you wouldn't write those articles. But if you've got a blog that's all about cooking and your blog is missing those certain pillar pieces of content that you'd expect on a blog about cooking, then the algorithms that are governing Google from the point of view of helpful content will say that, well, if all of these really authoritative websites have got these specific pieces of content, but your website doesn't have any of these specific pieces of content, then ipso facto, your website is slightly less trustworthy than those websites that do have those pieces of content. So which means that you're needing to write certain pillar pieces of content, even if they don't rank well, and even if they're not going to be bringing in massive amount of traffic, but just to be able to show that you've got the website that covers all of the helpful content. And obviously, you can link to your own helpful content from all of your other blog posts and increase your topical authority that way. But
Ezoic covered none of that. They haven't even touched on anything like topical authority or EEAT in their brand new, as of yesterday, um, webinar about search engine optimization. So from that point of view, what I can see is that the webinar type information that Ezoic's pushing out is approximately 18 months behind where Income School Project 24 is. So if you so what you're welcome to do is follow Ezoic's free content that's going out and follow their guidelines, but bearing in mind from what I've been able to see just from this limited one webinar comparison, because they were literally about an hour apart, um, following the Project 24 side of things, you're 18 months ahead of the game. I'd rather be 18 months ahead of the game than 18 months behind everybody else, bearing in mind that these days approximately 250,000 new websites are launched every single day. That's my rant on that matter. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. This isn't designed. This video isn't designed to be a Project 24 advertorial, but if you want to take join in with that system that I'm using to be able to grow my blogs that much quicker than the vast majority of everybody else out there, then you're welcome to do so as well. And I'll welcome you to the club, and we can chat about ways about making both of our blogs better on the twice a month growth workshops where we get to brainstorm things together. Think about it, let me know. But for now, let me go and get a good night's rest so that I can hit the ground running Thursday morning and see how well we can do on the content production side. Speak to you then. Have a good night. Cheers.